Hello friends, welcome to my channel. My name is Hilary and today I will be talking about Priory of Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. Right now this is standalone adult high fantasy with LGBTQ plus rep. It has over 800 pages and it is published in 2019. As of right now this is a standalone, but the author said that she is interested in doing a sequel or some other story in this universe, so we will see if it's happening or not. I think I have heard some rumors about this lately, but we will see. I hope the book will stay here and doesn't fall off. Small synopsis of the book is that there are two continents. The world is divided into two, the West and East. And the East is a lover of the worms, or I'm gonna call them dragons because it's hard word for me to pronounce. And they are working together with them, and they have dragon riders. And in the East, there are different kind of worms or dragons, and they are causing people red sickness and dying if they touch their worms or dragons. In between the two worlds there is an abyss, and deep down underneath there is the buried of the nameless one, the one worm or dragon that wants to destroy the world. The general point of this story is to stop the nameless one awaking and killing him finally altogether. And this and with the actual synopsis where is mentioned assassins protecting the kingdom of the West, it all lends to an epic adventure book. And a lot of people who have reviewed this in Storygraph, 98% has said it's an adventure book mainly. And this, I think, is where the problem lies with this book, especially because for me, I went for an epic fantasy with a lot of action, with assassins, with dragons, and honestly, sadly, I didn't get it. I'm not saying the book was bad. Actually, I really loved this book, but it was a lot of pain to get through. For example, the first 100 pages, I had no idea what's going on. I didn't understand who were all the characters, how are they related with each other, how are they related to the world, what is going on. Also, the map had too many details and it was hard to place any cities the people were located in to give me a little bit of clarity. About 100 to 200 pages in, I did understand the general plot line, what drives most of the main four characters, and also what is this book about. The main problem was that nothing happened. It was a lot of talking and characters walking around and doing something, but nothing major, no action actually took place. I got actually really excited about quite in the beginning, where there was talking dragons or worms, but that also there wasn't a lot of actually them inside the book. I could probably count all the scenes where they were taking active part in the scene in my two hands at most. So it was really hard to get into the actual book. I do say that about halfway in, I annotated with actually washi tapes and also highlighted it. About halfway in, I finally figured out that this is about the characters and their journey and the friendship between the characters. So about the last 400-300 pages were quite easy to read. And I enjoyed this book so much more. In general, my reading experience with this book was I couldn't read a lot in one session. For example, usually my daily goal is to read about 80 to 100 pages per day, and if it's a really good book, I can freely read 160 pages in one go or even more. For example, after this book, I picked up Shadow and Bones trilogy, last book, Ruin and Rising by Leigh Bardugo, and it's about, I think, a little bit over 400 pages, and I read 70% of it in one go, one night, with no problems. So, but I couldn't read that much. Most I could read was 50, maximum 80 pages with one session, and even that, the last part of that was quite hard to get through. It wasn't, I think it was the engagement, especially in the first half of the book, because I was expecting something else, but it was good, but I was just different expectations. I couldn't understand where are we getting to the action and why it's such a slow pace and why am I somewhat bored. So my recommendation is to read it in small chunks if you really want to read it, and just spread it over a longer time period. In general, we had 4 main characters. 2 of them females have been mentioned in the synopsis. I'm probably butchering all the names, so I'm sorry. I read it physically. I don't know how their names are actually pronounced. Was Eat. I would call her as a shield maiden. She comes from the west, and her task is to protect the Queen Sabran of the Inish Kingdom. That is the main kingdom that we are dealing with. The second female is Tane or Tane. I'm gonna call her Tane, and she's from the east, and she wants to become a dragon rider. For me, both of these characters were quite boring, and I didn't like them. I didn't hate them either. I just didn't care much about them. Now, we had 2 more point of views, and both were males, and honestly, they were the highlights of the book. First, we had a nobleman called Locke, if I'm correct, and he was from the west and also friends with the Queen Sabran, and honestly, he was my favorite character straight from the beginning, but I also think it was because he had a really funny sidekick, or a friend with him, and also he got a lot more action because he was sent away from the kingdom to find the Queen's father. In general, he was a really good person with good nature, and I loved him throughout the book. The second character is called Nicolas Roos, and is an alchemist from the west that was exiled by the Queen and sent to a small island in east. As you might figure, he was not a nice person, and also he was not happy with the Queen and actually hates her throughout the book. What I liked about Nicholas was the journey he took throughout the book. He started out not a very nice person, but by the end I was so moved with his self-discovery that he became the highlight for the whole book for me. There are 2 important aspects of this book also additionally. There are the romances. There are 2 major romances throughout the book. One is a sapphic one, and I think that is the one that is mostly talked about. It's a very slow burn where the both characters know each other from before, but throughout the book they get to know each other a little bit better, spending more time and finding their love. And at some points I did love their relationship and I was very moved by it, but at some points I also didn't care much about that. Second one is a love story between Nicholas and another male character, Channard, that is now dead, and he was dead before Nicholas was exiled, and we will get snippets from their relationship, and honestly I was hooked from the beginning, and I felt their relationship really moving, and I loved all the scenes that we got between them. In general, this book is about those 4 characters and their journey throughout their life, while also in a troubling times where war is looming over their heads, and their self-discovery, finding out what they're capable of and whether they can live with those consequences is the major theme in this book. Additional bonus, and I also think the highlight of this book, is about friendship. And this is why I would recommend for you to read about these characters, their journey and their friendships. So I wouldn't recommend this book for everybody. I myself gave it 4 stars. I couldn't give it 5 stars because I wasn't happy with the pacing and also how it was advertised. And also there's a lot of scenes that you could freely cut out and it wouldn't affect major plots or character development. So I think it could be better, but honestly, probably for Nicholas, I maybe would reread this book at some point because I just loved his journey. So I would recommend this book not for everybody, but for some people, especially if they want a really good friendship and self-discovery book. But I would also recommend them to pace it out over a longer period of time to read it, or honestly read it as an audiobook, because I think it would be a lot easier and faster to read it also while getting all the important aspects of this book. So in general, I think it's a good book. I definitely want to sample other Samantha Shannon books, and this will definitely be kept on my reading shelf for years to come. But I think that's about it. I do hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. You can let me down below if you have read this book, whether you want to read this book or you're not interested at all. And thank you for watching. Bye.